Don't let the shrinkage fool you. The inches are there. Me achieving long, healthy, thick hair has a lot to do with how I manage my stress. If you're stressed like crazy, do not touch your hair. Don't do it to yourself. I'm telling you, I've been there. You're more likely to take it out on your hair. I always mentally check in with myself before wash day, before detangling, anything. Because the last thing you want to do is take temporary feelings and have them affect the progress of your hair. I'm quick to put my hair right up in a floppy bun or in a scarf and call it a day. Because think about it, when you're feeling rage and you're grieving, you're sad, you're just not feeling like yourself, you're more likely to transfer that frustration into your hair. Next thing you know, you're being really rough and ripping hair out unnecessarily. Take the stressful moments in your life as an opportunity to protect your style. Tuck those ends away, leave it alone. So even in those crazy moments of stress, you have an opportunity to make sure that your hair gets longer, thicker, and healthier by the time you're done with that stressful period. All my naturals know you're supposed to be washing your hair at least once a month. Like, it really shouldn't go over that. But let's say you're on week 5, but you're grieving or you're stressed or you're just going through something. Don't touch your hair. It's honestly so much better than taking out life stresses and pressures on your hair. It's very easy to do, especially when you're emotional, you're going through it, you're not in your right state of mind. You have to expect there to be at least some moments where you have to push back wash day, where you have to reschedule. This day and age, we live such busy lives. Some of us were holding down multiple jobs, businesses. You just have to give yourself grace. I did it recently. I was coming up on like 6 weeks I hadn't done wash day, and that's literally the longest I've ever let myself go without doing wash day. But a lot was going on, you know what I mean? There was work. I had no choice but to just reschedule my wash day and understand that in that moment, I just wasn't in the mind space to give my hair the care and the gentleness that it deserves. And that's why it's important to have coping mechanisms. Till this day, I find myself actively working on my stress management skills. Instead of running off and isolating myself, I'm working on healthier ways to manage my stress. One thing about stress, never ever just sit and let yourself stew in it. Psychologists have proven that people who believe that they're in control of their lives have better life outcomes. There's so many outlets to unpack and relieve stress, like therapy, healthy coping mechanisms, etc. Stress can be a very effective bodily response. For example, if you have an important test coming up, stress can motivate you to study hard and get an A. It's just important to remember to use it as a tool to guide you and not let it run you. Honestly, my whole experience changed when I found ways to cope with things I was dealing with in my life. I'm talking art, listening to music, immersing myself in literature that I really love. When you're constantly putting in work to be mentally sound, you're making sure that there's no foundational barrier keeping your hair from doing what it needs to do, from transitioning between the anagen, catagen, and telogen phase with ease. So lately, I've been thinking a lot about stress and how it affects the health and quality of our hair. When it comes to mental health and stress, these are things that are very normal. We all deal with them at some point in our lives. A lot of what we experience on a day-to-day comes down to chemical release. How much of what hormone is being released at what given moment. It definitely plays a huge part when it comes to how we navigate the world and how we feel about ourselves. If your hormones aren't balanced the way they're supposed to be, it can have an effect on the length, the thickness, and the overall quality of your hair. Hormones literally control the growth of hair, so it's so important to make sure that everything's balanced so that you can see your hair grow to its full potential. When we're under heavy stress and mental strain, it can literally force our hair to stop growing in that moment. What happens is that stress and pressure basically stops the growing phase, the anagen phase. It pushes your hair follicles into dormancy, meaning that the hair stops growing altogether for a period of time before it sheds. So don't beat yourself up because it gets real, times get hard, we go through struggles, that's a part of the human experience. But once you know the facts and you have the information, you can make a choice to be proactive within your mental health journey, which is very well connected to your natural hair care journey. I just really wanted to get into the interconnectedness of the two because they're very much so interrelated. One affects the other. And sometimes people will find out that they have a problem within their body or a hormonal imbalance due to their hair. Like sometimes your hair is like the first sign that something is wrong. I've heard so many stories of people talking about hair coming out in clumps in the shower, hair just shedding like crazy, uncontrollably, breaking off left and right. So if you remember in my last video, I mentioned the need to get a blood panel done at the doctor to make sure that your hormones and nutrients are balanced. It's just a really thorough process to make sure that your overall health is 100%. Once your overall health is 100%, your hair has more of a chance of thriving. I feel like it's so easy to bypass the importance of looking at stress as it pertains to natural hair care. People usually want like the fast solution, what product should I use? And that's kind of where it ends. Just remember that no product, technique, or solution will work if the hormones in your body aren't balanced. For example, if you're not producing enough adrenaline, that'll affect your body's ability to respond to stress in a healthy manner. Holding stress within your body can be extremely damaging. And that's the thing, like feelings are very fleeting, they're very temporary. You feel them, you go through them, and you release them. You shouldn't be holding anything inside of your body. That'll affect way more than just hair growth.